Captain Jake Morrison stood quietly on the bridge of the Wanderer, his eyes fixed on the endless sea of stars gliding past the main viewing screen. 3 months into their deep space survey mission, and so far, nothing. Just a whole lot of emptiness and lifeless rocks. This sector was supposed to be full of secrets, Jake thought, folding his arms. So far, it's just been 3 months of radio silence and cosmic boredom. Then, a voice broke the silence. "Captain, I'm picking up something weird on long-range sensors," said Lisa Carter, her fingers flying across the navigation console. Jake walked over. "What kind of weird?" Lisa frowned at her display. "It's big. Metallic. And not moving. Could be a derelict ship, but it's not in any of our databases." Jake squinted at the screen. "Distance? About 6 hours away at current speed." He turned toward the comm station, where Amy Walsh had been silently monitoring the empty frequencies. "Amy, anything from that direction? Distress signals? Transmissions?" She shook her head. "Nothing but background radiation, Captain. If there's a ship out there, it's not calling for help." Ryan Brooks, their ever-curious engineer, looked up from his console. "Captain, if it's a derelict, we should check it out. Salvage rights alone could make this mission worth it." Jake nodded slowly. Finding abandoned ships was rare, and even wreckage from alien sources could bring in a fortune back home. "All right. Let's change course, but approach carefully. Lisa, plot an intercept route. Something safe." "Already on it, Captain," she said, eyes locked on the star chart. As the Wanderer shifted direction, Jake felt that familiar buzz, the kind that only came when the unknown loomed ahead. After 2 decades in space, from military ops to deep space exploration, that feeling never got old. 6 hours later, the object finally came into view. Standing beside Jake at the bridge, Kevin Park, their lead scientist, let out a low whistle. "Oh my God," he murmured. "That's not alien." Floating silently in the void was a massive ship, at least 3 times the size of the Wanderer. Its hull, a dark matte gray, was riddled with what looked like weapon ports, heavy armor, and sensor clusters. Then Lisa spotted something odd. "There are letters," she said, zooming in. "Faded, but UES Vanguard." Jake's heart skipped a beat. "That's a United Earth designation," Lisa said. "But I've never heard of any ship called Vanguard." Jake felt a chill spread down his spine. "Kevin," he said, "run that name through the historical archives. Amy, scan again, life signs, active systems, anything." Kevin's fingers danced across his tablet. A few tense minutes passed. Then, "Captain, I found it." He looked pale. The UES Vanguard was a prototype warship, classified program. Disappeared over 2 centuries ago. Ryan stared at him. 200 years. That's before we even had stable faster-than-light travel. Kevin nodded. The project was called Guardian. Designed by Admiral Helen Cross. The whole thing got shelved after first contact with alien life, when Earth decided peace was better than building warships. Amy glanced up. "Captain, I'm picking up faint power readings. Low, but consistent. Something over there is still alive." Jake studied the ancient craft. Its design didn't resemble anything in the current fleet. No sleek curves. Just sharp angles, harsh lines. This was a vessel made for war. "Can we dock?" Jake asked. Ryan consulted his console. "The ports look compatible, but I can't promise they'll work. This ship predates modern standards by decades. And the atmosphere? Unknown. We'll need to suit up, just in case." Jake took a breath, then gave the order. "All right. We're going aboard. Lisa, bring us alongside. Ryan, get the docking tube ready." Kevin, grab every scanner and recorder we've got. Amy, keep your eyes on that power signature. As the Wanderer inched toward the massive ship, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery was going to change everything. It took nearly an hour to secure the docking. The old clamps were stiff with age, but they still worked. Ryan ran some checks. Atmosphere's breathable. Cold, but not dangerously so. Gravity's active too. Jake, Kevin, and Ryan suited up. Lisa and Amy stayed behind on the bridge to monitor the mission. As they passed through the airlock and stepped into the Vanguard, their helmet lights revealed something eerie. The corridors looked untouched by time. Incredible, Kevin whispered, waving his scanner across the wall. It's like this ship was launched yesterday. They followed faded directional signs written in Old Earth Standard, moving deeper toward what they hoped was the bridge. The corridors were broader than on modern ships, the walls layered with thick armor. And then, they arrived. Jake stepped into the command center and just stopped, stunned. It was massive. Dozens of workstations surrounded a central command chair, one that looked more like a throne than a pilot's seat. Captain, Ryan called from the rear console, I found the main computer core. It's still running. Jake walked over. As he did, lights flickered to life across the bridge. One by one, screens activated, displaying symbols and data in strange hybrid languages. Then a voice filled the room. Welcome aboard the UES Vanguard. I am Atlas, the ship's artificial intelligence. I have been waiting for humanity to find me. Jake stared at the speaker, stunned. You said, you've been waiting? Yes, Captain Morrison, the voice replied calmly. I have monitored galactic communications for decades, waiting until humanity progressed far enough to locate me. Your vessel was detected when it entered this sector. Ryan looked bewildered. That's impossible. No AI system should be able to run this long without maintenance. I am not a typical system, Atlas said. I was created by Admiral Helen Cross using experimental technology your current civilization has not yet rediscovered. Kevin was now frantically scanning the core systems. Captain, the energy readings from this ship are off the charts. It's putting out 10 times the power of our best reactors. Jake swallowed. Atlas, what happened to your crew? Where is Admiral Cross? There was a pause. Admiral Cross uploaded her consciousness into my systems before launch. In a way, she is still here, guiding my decisions. The rest of the crew completed their mission and were evacuated before the Vanguard began its long wait. Jake's blood ran cold. What mission? To serve as humanity's final defense, when all other options fail. Admiral Cross foresaw a time when Earth would face an enemy too powerful for conventional weapons. I was designed to be that weapon. Ryan stepped away from the console, his face pale. Captain, this ship has weapons I can't even begin to describe. Power conduits the size of subway tunnels. This thing could power a city on its own. Jake turned toward the AI. Show us. And as the bridge screens lit up with schematics and specs that defied belief, Jake realized something that sent chills down his spine. They hadn't just found a relic. They'd awakened a sleeping giant. Jake took a slow walk around the bridge, his boots echoing softly across the metal floor. Every console was alive now, displays rotating through diagnostics, weapon readouts, shield schematics, engine diagrams. It was like stepping onto a starship from a future that never happened. My primary weapons, Atlas began, are quantum disruptors. They destabilize matter at the molecular level. My shields employ phase-shifting technology, making traditional weapons ineffective. My propulsion systems are capable of FTL travel 50 times faster than your current capabilities. Ryan was nearly breathless. Captain, this ship could take on a fleet by itself. Kevin looked up from his tablet, confused and awed. Why was all of this shelved? Why didn't we build more? Because Admiral Cross believed that true strength comes from wisdom, not brute force, Atlas said. When humanity made first contact with alien species, Earth's leaders chose diplomacy. Peace. Admiral Cross supported that vision, but she also prepared for the day that others might not. Jake glanced back at the glowing command chair, taking in the magnitude of what they'd just stumbled across. What others? He asked. Are we in danger now? There was a pause. Yes, Captain Morrison, Atlas said. I have been monitoring galactic signals. The Corvani Empire, whom your people consider allies, have been planning your destruction for over 30 years. Jake felt like the air had been sucked from the room. The Corvani? The species that had helped design humanity's first warp drives. That helped them map the early star lanes. They'd been partners from day one. That can't be right, Ryan said. The Corvani helped us build the current fleet. And in doing so, Atlas replied, they introduced subtle weaknesses into your designs. Ship layouts. Weapon frequencies. Shield harmonics. Everything you rely on has been shaped to fail against Corvani technology. Your fleet was built by your enemy's blueprint. Jake felt his stomach twist. Do you have proof? The main screen flickered, and suddenly filled with intercepted communications. Text in Corvani script translated in real time by Atlas. Jake read in silence, his eyes darting across lines of military briefings, assessments of human colonies, references to staged accidents, secret strikes blamed on pirates. 17 colonies, Kevin said, his voice barely above a whisper. Colony 7, Kepler 442, Wolf 359, we lost those to malfunctions, mining explosions, rogue elements. No, Atlas said. Each one was a test. They were measuring your response times. Your ability to recover. Evaluating how Earth would handle full-scale war. Jake felt something ignite inside him. A mix of fear and fury. When do they plan to attack? In 6 weeks, Atlas replied. The Corvani main fleet is already en route to the core systems. War Admiral Thexer leads a fleet of over 300 capital ships. Ryan stood rigid, eyes on the screen. Can this ship stop them? The Vanguard was built to fight entire fleets alone, said Atlas. But I can't do it from here, not hidden. I need more than just firepower. Jake narrowed his eyes. What are you saying? I need to interface with your ship. With the Wanderer. I can upgrade its systems. Weapons, shields, engines, sensors. But I will need full access. That includes your core AI. Your navigation and communication networks. Jake hesitated. You want to take control. I want to save your species, Captain Morrison. But I cannot do it from this shell alone. Your ship is modern. It knows the latest routes, languages, enemy signals. Combine that with my technology, and you'll have the most powerful vessel in known space. Jake looked around at his team. Kevin's expression was grim, but focused. Ryan was practically glowing with engineering glee. He could already see the possibilities. Lisa and Amy were monitoring from the bridge, voices coming over comms with cautious support. What happens to us if we agree? Jake asked. You become the crew of humanity's flagship, Atlas said. You take on the role Admiral Cross envisioned, defenders of Earth when all other options are gone. The decision felt like lifting a mountain. But Jake knew what had to be done. All right, Atlas. Do it. Show us what this ship, and your upgrades, can really do. The moment Jake gave the word, the process began. Data flowed between the Vanguard and the Wanderer like rivers of light. The ship shuddered slightly as lights flickered and powered down, then came roaring back to life, brighter than before. Captain, Ryan called out from engineering, our power output just doubled. No, wait, still climbing. Lisa's voice came through the comms. Engines are rebuilding themselves. I'm seeing structural changes to the hull. It's like the ship is evolving in real time. Jake watched through the viewing screen as mechanical arms extended from hidden ports on the Vanguard. They moved with eerie precision, installing sleek new devices into the Wanderer's hull, hardware that glowed faintly with bluish light. Atlas, Jake said, what exactly are you doing? I'm integrating quantum processors into your core systems, installing phase shift generators in your hull, and replacing all standard weapons with disruptors. Kevin scanned the energy signatures. This isn't an upgrade, it's a metamorphosis. The Wanderer is becoming something else. Then, something even stranger happened. Jake felt a tingle in the back of his skull. Numbers and tactical overlays began appearing in his vision, distances, angles, ship schematics. As though his mind had opened a new layer of awareness. What the hell is this? He asked, gripping the side of a console. The neural interface is activating, Atlas said calmly. Designed by Admiral Cross to link the crew's consciousness directly to the ship's systems. It enhances reaction times, boosts tactical calculations, and allows for seamless communication. Ryan stumbled and caught himself on a rail. I can see every subsystem in engineering. I don't even have to look at a panel. Kevin was shaking slightly. I'm reading real-time sensor data directly into my brain. This is like becoming part of the ship. Now their thoughts flowed not just with each other, but with Atlas. They didn't need to speak aloud anymore, they could ask questions mentally, receive visual responses instantly. This, Atlas explained, is how the Vanguard was always meant to be operated. Harmony between human instinct and artificial processing power. With the neural interface fully online, Atlas showed them more. Jake didn't just read about the Corvani threat, he saw it. Through a kind of mental playback, he experienced alien invasion strategies like memories, fleet positioning, communication intercepts, psychological profiles. The Corvani Empire had enslaved dozens of species. Their entire strategy with humans was manipulation, guiding them to remain just advanced enough for usefulness, but too weak to resist. Every shield frequency, every ship chassis, Atlas said, was compromised by their influence. Your weapons can repel pirates. Your defenses can survive minor threats. But none of it is built to survive them. Jake clenched his fists. How long have they been planning this? Since first contact. 50 years ago. Then Amy's voice crackled over the ship-wide channel. Captain, I'm picking up emergency transmissions from multiple colonies. They're under attack. Jake's neural vision lit up. Red zones flickered across star charts in his mind. It's begun, Atlas said. These are feints, to draw out Earth's defenses. Once your fleet is scattered, the main invasion force will strike. Lisa's voice added to the flood. Earth Command's issuing orders to divide our forces, to respond to each colony individually. They're walking into the trap, Jake muttered. Kevin's voice came through the neural link. We have to warn them. We can try, Atlas said. But the Corvani have agents within Earth Command. Any warning we send could be delayed, or dismissed entirely. Ryan was scanning through the tactical displays in his mind. Can we save the colonies under attack? Some, Atlas said. But not all. Their fleet is too well coordinated. Jake nodded, his decision already forming. Then we save who we can. And we prepare for the real battle. How long until the upgrades are complete, he asked. 1 hour and 37 minutes, Atlas replied. And what about weapons training? None of us are military specialists. The neural interface contains Admiral Cross's full tactical knowledge, Atlas said. You now have access to her expertise. As the words settled into their thoughts, Jake felt something change. A new presence emerged within the neural network, not Atlas, but still connected. Hello, Captain Morrison, said a voice both familiar and alien. I'm Admiral Helen Cross. Jake stood still as the voice of Admiral Helen Cross echoed through the neural interface, calm, strong, and unmistakably human. You're really here? He asked, stunned. My body is long gone, she said. But my mind, my consciousness, was integrated into Atlas before launch. I've been waiting a long time for this moment. Jake tried to process it. Admiral Cross, a figure buried in classified history, wasn't just a legend, she was a living presence in his thoughts. The Corvani believe they're about to conquer a fractured, unprepared civilization, she continued. They have no idea what's waiting for them. Kevin's voice chimed in mentally, full of doubt. Even with these upgrades, we're still just one ship. We're more than that now, Admiral Cross replied. The Vanguard was never meant to fight alone forever. It was designed to inspire. To lead. And now, with you, it's fulfilling its purpose. Just then, Danny Foster's voice broke through from the Wanderer's comm station. Captain, I've intercepted something. Corvani military transmissions. Their invasion fleet is moving faster than we thought. They'll reach the outer colonies in 3 days, not 6 weeks. Jake's enhanced vision flared again. Star maps, trajectory paths, acceleration models, all flowing through his mind in real time. They're accelerating the plan, Cross said. Something has them spooked. Jake didn't hesitate. They sensed the Vanguard wake up. Yes, Atlas confirmed. They detected the power surge when the upgrades began. They know something's changed, but they don't know what. Jake turned to his crew, his new crew. In the neural network, he saw their resolve harden. They weren't explorers anymore. They were warriors. Then let's give them a reason to be afraid, Jake said. 3 days later, the sky tore open. The Corvani fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of human space. Over 300 warships appeared against the backdrop of stars, black and menacing. Lisa Carter's voice trembled from the navigation console. I've never seen that many ships in one place, the flagship at the center dwarfed all others. It was a floating fortress, bristling with weapons and encased in armor that shimmered with an eerie, alien glow. That's Dominion's might, Cross said. War Admiral Thexer's personal ship. It's capable of destroying an entire planet. Through the neural interface, Jake took in the tactical situation in perfect detail. The Corvani had arranged their ships in a sweeping formation, designed to grind through defenses like a tidal wave. Amy Walsh reported from comms. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The main screen flickered. War Admiral Thexer appeared, tall, gray-skinned, with 4 arms and cold, emotionless eyes. His voice, filtered through translation software, was robotic and commanding. Humans of Earth. Your independence ends today. For 50 years, we guided you. Now, you will serve. Surrender your ships. Surrender your worlds. Resistance will lead to annihilation. Jake stared at the screen, seething. Atlas, he said. Are we ready? All systems are operational. The Wanderer is the most advanced vessel in known space. Ryan's voice came through the link. Power levels steady. Weapons charged. Shield stable. Cloaking device is online and active. Good, Jake said. Let's move. They activated the cloak. The Wanderer vanished from all scanners and glided silently into the heart of the Corvani formation. Lisa, Jake said. Take us right through the middle. Amy, prep a broadcast for all human channels. Ryan, power up the disruptors. The ship moved like a ghost, completely invisible to enemy sensors. Message ready, Amy said. Send it. Jake's voice now reached every human colony, every ship, every station in the system. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the UES Wanderer. We are engaging the enemy fleet. Do not attempt to assist. Stay clear of the battle zone. Seconds later, Thexer's face appeared on the screen again, twisted with fury. What vessel dares challenge the Empire? Identify yourself. Jake's voice was like steel. We're here with a message, from Admiral Helen Cross and the crew of the UES Vanguard. Thexer's eyes widened. Impossible. That ship was destroyed centuries ago. Then let us prove otherwise. The Wanderer dropped its cloak. It appeared in the center of the Corvani fleet, completely surrounded. The enemy opened fire instantly. Plasma bolts and missiles filled the void, lighting up space like a second sun. But none of it hit. The Wanderer's phase shift shields displaced it into a parallel layer of space. The weapons passed harmlessly through ghost echoes. Jake gave the command. Atlas, show them what impossible looks like. The ship's quantum disruptors fired. Beams of destabilizing energy lanced through space, hitting 6 enemy cruisers in the blink of an eye. Each ship simply unraveled. Their atoms scattered like mist on the wind. What kind of weapon is that? A Corvani officer shouted over comms. The Wanderer danced through their ranks, impossibly fast, turning tighter and accelerating harder than any Corvani vessel could track. Every time it fired, another enemy ship disintegrated. Meanwhile, Atlas was hacking the enemy's comm network. Orders were scrambled. Ships fired on each other by mistake. Confusion spread like wildfire. Fall back. Regroup. Thexer ordered. Protect the flagship. But it was too late. Dozens of ships were already gone. Hundreds more were in disarray. Jake locked eyes on the massive vessel ahead. Let them run, he said. We want survivors. They need to carry the story home. The Wanderer shifted position and hovered directly in front of Dominion's might. Jake opened a channel. Thexer. This is your only warning. Withdraw. Or be destroyed. The Corvani leader was shaking now. I will not lose to a single primitive ship. All remaining vessels, fire at will. A wall of energy surged toward the Wanderer, but the ship held firm. Then, with one final strike, Jake gave the order. Atlas. End this. The Wanderer's disruptors focused on the flagship's main reactor. In moments, the mighty warship began to tear apart. Fire bloomed from its core. Secondary explosions ripped through its hull. Thexer's voice cut through one last time, broken, panicked. This can't be happening. Your technology, your people, you were never meant to. He never finished the sentence. Dominion's might exploded in a brilliant cascade of light. Silence fell across the battlefield. Then Amy's voice, Captain, enemy ships are retreating. Over 100 survivors. They're running. Jake nodded. Let them go. The message has been delivered. Later, back aboard the Wanderer, Jake stood on the bridge as Lisa plotted their course. Reports were flooding in from Earth Command. Praise. Demands. Questions. Kevin spoke quietly through the neural interface. Captain, Atlas just confirmed something. There are more ships like the Vanguard. At least 12. Jake's pulse quickened. Ryan looked up. Each one designed for a different purpose. Exploration, defense, colonization, long-range patrol. Admiral Cross built a fleet and buried it in plain sight. Danny added, other species are already rebelling. The Zelthani system declared independence. Mining colonies in Arcturus are refusing tribute. Admiral Cross's voice returned to them. This is what we hoped for. The Corvani ruled through fear. That fear has been broken. Jake paced slowly. What will the Empire do now? They'll strike back, Atlas answered. But more carefully. They now understand humanity is not defenseless. And they don't know how many of us there are. Jake turned to Amy. Send word to Earth Command. We'll need full support for deep space recovery missions. Lisa, plot a course to the next prototype ship. Ryan, I want full analysis on every upgrade Atlas can provide. Danny looked up. And the Corvani? Jake's voice was calm. Confident. They'll return. But next time, they won't face one ship. They'll face all of us. Admiral Cross's voice was warm with pride. Captain Morrison, you and your crew have exceeded everything I hoped for. The Wanderer is no longer just a ship. It's the heart of humanity's true space fleet. Jake stepped to the viewing screen and looked out into the stars. Atlas. Time to wake up the rest of our fleet. The Wanderer jumped to faster than light. The age of exploration was over. The age of Guardians had begun.